Welcome to Movie Story, where we bring your favorite films to life with thrilling recaps and deep dives.
In a future where space travel is the norm, a spaceship is traveling through a new galaxy. The entire crew is asleep, thanks to suspended animation, except for Riddick, who tries to guess things about the other passengers' lives through their smells. Suddenly, debris from a meteor storm hits the ship and pierces the hull. The computer immediately activates the alarm and wakes up the main crew. However, the debris goes through the captain's pod, killing him. Pilot Carolyn and navigator Greg stumble out of their pods and rush to the control panel, only to discover that the ship has been pushed into a planet's atmosphere, and gravity is making it descend at a dangerously high speed. Greg tries to call for help, but the communication antenna is damaged. Carolyn rushes to the pilot's chair and releases various parts of the ship before putting it into a roll. The spaceship slows down slightly, but it isn't enough, so she has no choice but to drop the passenger pods. When Greg realizes what she intends to do, he blocks the airlocks. Carolyn tries her best to stabilize the ship as it begins to come apart, and a piece of metal breaks the front window. Eventually, the ship lands on the planet and slides across the ground for a few miles, losing even more parts. Police officer William leaves his pod during the process and has to hold on tightly to avoid falling through the crumbling walls. When the ship finally stops, the crew exits their pods and discovers that only a few have survived. William realizes he has lost his gun and returns to his pod to find it, only to be suddenly attacked by Riddick. Without hesitation, William strikes him with his baton until he brings Riddick down, then ties him to a metal beam. The rest of the crew opens the closed pods, finding a few more survivors, but mostly bodies. Carolyn searches for Greg among the debris and discovers he has been impaled by a metal bar. Since they don't have any medicine, because that part of the cabin is gone, Carolyn kicks everyone out of the room and keeps Greg company while he dies. Afterward, the crew inspects the planet, only to discover they are stranded in a desert. In the distance, they see mysterious spires, 3 suns, and a malfunctioning compass. The crew thanks Carolyn for saving them and calls her Captain, which makes her feel guilty for having wanted to get rid of them. Then Carolyn sees Riddick, and William explains that he is a dangerous criminal who escaped from a maximum security prison, revealing that he isn't entirely human. Next, the group checks the cargo and finds some alcohol, but no water. While everyone is distracted, Riddick notices that the metal beam he is tied to is broken at the top. Twisting his shoulders, he lifts himself high enough to slip his handcuffed hands through the crack, freeing himself. When the crew discovers Riddick is gone, they grab weapons and prepare to search for him, and water. The group splits up, leaving a few survivors to guard the ship while the rest explore the area. They spot a few trees, but when they get closer, they are disappointed to find they are actually huge bone structures. The team looks around, unaware that Riddick is hiding among the bones. As she takes a rest, Carolyn admits to William that she almost got rid of all the passengers. While she is distracted, Riddick secretly cuts a strand of her hair with a knife. Meanwhile, Abu's 3 sons find a toy robot buried in the sand. Soon after, the group reaches an abandoned human settlement filled with pots and jugs, indicating that there was once water here. Carolyn finds a model of this planet's solar system and learns that, due to the positions of the 3 suns, this place never experiences nighttime. She is also excited to find an aircraft, but it has no power left, and its wings are broken. Back at the shipwreck, Paris tells Shaza and Jack that he has heard a strange noise. Jack peers through a hole in the wall and sees a man walking around the ship, leading them to assume it is Riddick. The trio prepares to attack, but when the man gets closer, they realize he is just another survivor. Suddenly, the man is shot from behind by Shaza's boyfriend, Zeke, who also mistook him for Riddick. Meanwhile, the real Riddick is nearby, casually sipping a drink. Later, Zeke finishes digging a grave and starts moving all the bodies. He notices a hole in the grave's wall and takes a closer look, only to be dragged inside and attacked by an unseen force. Zeke fires his gun in defense, and Shaza rushes over upon hearing the gunshots. But it is too late. Only Zeke's blood remains. When Shaza looks up, she sees Riddick and assumes he is responsible. Riddick immediately runs, but William, having also heard the gunshots, arrives just in time to stop him. As they fight, William removes Riddick's goggles, and the sunlight stings his eyes, making it easier for William and Shaza to recapture him. Moments later, Riddick is once again chained inside the shipwreck. Carolyn asks about the location of Zeke's body, but Riddick simply warns that he is not the one the crew should fear. He startles Carolyn by suddenly standing up, revealing his unusual eyes that allow him to see in the dark, but are sensitive to daylight. Then he confesses that he has killed people in the past, but not Zeke. He insists that they need to check the hole again. William believes Riddick is lying, but Carolyn decides to go inside the hole, tying a rope around herself just in case. After crawling for a long time, she reaches a small cavern and notices holes in the ceiling, which turn out to be the spires. Suddenly, she hears movement in the darkness and turns to see Zeke's foot. At that moment, her flashlight is knocked away by creatures known as bioraptors, who are eager to eat her too. A terrified Carolyn begins climbing the spire, but the rope prevents her from going too far, and she starts sliding back into the cavern. Carolyn screams for help, and the crew follows the noise, breaking open the spire to rescue her. She appears to be safe for a moment, but then the creatures begin pulling on the rope, dragging her back into the hole. William and Abu rush to cut the rope just in time, saving her. Afterward, William confronts Riddick and explains the situation, before shooting off his chains and returning his goggles. Riddick immediately grabs William's gun, just to scare him, then agrees to help.
If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Movie Story for more amazing movie recaps. Let us know in the comments which movie you'd like us to cover next. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.